obviously, there's a couple things, injury-wise, corresponding moves, like with Grady going on IR. Obviously, we know Grady's not going to be back. So we made a trade for Kentavia Street. We're excited about that's here. We'll end up putting LaCale on IR. He's got a great chance to return sooner or later. Corresponding move. Signed Travis Bell off the Chicago's practice squad, played at Kennesaw State. So those are moves, and then obviously we have a couple injuries that'll affect practice today. That'll be on the injury report. Drake, DeMarco. They got a chance. We'll just have to see how the next couple of days go. And then a couple guys that take their normal veteran workout inside day. Today will be Calais and David Animata.
Coach, any decisions at the quarterback position?
So, just for this week, just with all the variables, just kind of consider everything in the last 72 hours and what we feel is good, best for this week for us, against Minnesota. Taylor will play this week.
What went into that? Oh, go ahead.
What went into the decision?
Yeah, there's a lot of variables, and then really just, like I said, considering the last 72 hours and just kind of where we're at right now, going into this week in Minnesota, getting ready to play the Vikings. Obviously, a really good team coming in here. Is going with Taylor, and that's why he's here right now. And obviously did a lot of. Des went through all those tests. He's clear. He'll be available, but just right now in the short term, it'll be Taylor this Sunday.
So, just to be clear, will Des be the number 2, or will he be the number 3 quarterback behind Logan?
No, the plan is for Des to be, again, we'll evaluate this week, but we feel fine about where he's at. So that is the plan for him to be ready to go if needed.
Is that number 2 or the number 3?
Other 2. Well, obviously that can change, right?
Right.
Is your plan to go? Is your long-term plan a 2-week plan to go back?
Nothing with the long term right now. Right now, it's just we're focused on Minnesota and obviously Taylor. Like I said, there's a lot of variables. Just kind of looking at it short term, Josh. And I understand the question completely, and it's a good question. But really, our focus is short term and what gives us the best chance. Sunday, with everything being considered, a lot of variables.
How did Ritter take it?
Oh, Des is awesome. Those guys are incredible. There's a lot of things that go into it, so this isn't some grand statement for forever, So Des was great.
How about Heinicke? What was his reaction when he was?
Great. I'm sure it was probably similar to how he was post game. That's who Taylor is. I mean, he's a great pro, and that's what makes him who he is and why he's been successful.
So, in terms of the medical situation, is that what you looked at? What, I guess, didn't you see, or what did you not see enough?
Those are private conversations, and I understand, Mike. I mean, those are legitimate questions. I'm just, keeping our internal decision making and private.
So, just to be clear, so is this a medical decision then
No,
with this, or is this a?
Just when I answered about a lot of variables, my answer is not going to change. There's a lot of variables that go into it.
So part of this is performance line?
There's a lot of variables. My answer is not going to change, Mike.
So what did you see in Heinicke that made you believe that you could be the starter and win a game for you this week?
Same reason when he had to go in there when Des was getting evaluated. I mean, it's what we wanted him in the offseason. You get in the moments in the season, things come up. He's a legitimate, pro, and that's why we like him. He goes in there, like I said, that's not an easy job. I guess, coming out of the bathroom and telling, hey, here's the ball, go play. And, that's what makes Taylor who he is and why we have so much appreciation for him.
Are there ways that Desmond can continue to grow by watching a veteran guy go out there and operate your offense?
No matter what obstacle comes up, I think every day is if you're not trying to grow and improve in your job, to me that's the wrong mindset. It's the same thing for myself every day or any player or anybody on this team. So every opportunity you got a chance to learn and grow, no matter what comes up, whatever the circumstances are.
Was it your decision or was it a group decision? Or
Always consult with everybody, but ultimately that's my job as a decision maker. So I'll never pass the buck to anybody. That's my job, but we, like everything, we're inclusive, but ultimately I got to make that decision.
So, I mean, in terms of Desmond, you said private conversations and all that, but how is he then mentally? Because on Sunday you said that, it sounded like he was a little bit off, and that's why you would.
And going back to the questions, and again, I understand it, Mike. And my answer's not going to change. I mean, we have our process private. Like I said, we're just focused on this week in Minnesota. Everything going on, what gives us the best chance, and that's why. But those conversations are private. Always clear. That's what I said. Yeah. No, I got you. Doing your clerical work, right?
Yes, doing that clerical work.
Do you hope this week maybe just kind of like helps us kind of just settle down a little bit, just after dealing with all the interceptions, the fumbles, the speed of the game, maybe just like a break, kind of?
But there's a lot of variables that go into it, you know. Those are all good questions. You use every opportunity that comes up to improve yourself.
So, and just in the big picture, looking at the operation, how do you hope that Taylor, messed that up all the time. How you hoping Taylor can?
He's been called worse, I'm sure. Some people probably see him pumping gas over there and think he's just a local up in Hall County. Yeah, I got you. I know.
But you got to increase your scoring, get rid of turnovers.
Sure, that's kind of the name of the game, right? You've been covering this.
How does he do that and help you?
Well, yeah, it's like every week in this league, right, D-Led? I mean, it shouldn't have been a surprise last week. Any week in the National Football League, just look around. I mean, many of you have covered this game a long time, and there's things that don't change. You know, whether it's field position that goes in the situation, or turnovers, or can you affect the other team's quarterback? That usually gives you the best chance. And so I sat up here last week, and we can all fact check, and this wasn't just because of my relationship with Mike Vrabel or being there. It's every week in the National Football League. It doesn't matter if Jaron Hall's playing or Josh Dobbs, or they can bring anybody else up. In this league, if you don't play sound, field position, which you can move into situational football, and you don't take care of the football, or you don't affect the quarterback, or you don't let your quarterback get affected, that's usually going to be the difference. And you look back to last week, came down to field position, right? The turnovers were even, and they hit their plan. It shouldn't have been a secret to anybody. They were able to stay on track and block up some play action shots, and they hit them. I doubt it's going to be a lot different with Minnesota coming in. Right, play sound football. They have a talented football team. Whether it's obviously going to play Jaron, smart, Josh Dobbs, smart player. They got good skill players. That's kind of doesn't really change week to week. Whether Kirk Cousins is playing, it's the same thing they did in Green Bay. They start that game. They got a good mix. They got a good line. They got two good backs, and Madison and Akers. And obviously, they can move the football, and they've got an aggressive defense. Those principles in the NFL usually don't change. That's why people should never be surprised when something looked like a month ago. You look like the team that's the best team in the league. It's just that's life in the NFL, and so we gotta prepare. We gotta give ourselves, put a good plan in, and we gotta go in there and obviously improve. And it all goes into it, D-Led, right? I mean, you go in there and win those field position battles and win the situations and take care of the football. You got a great chance to win, and that'll be the same thing this Sunday.
Ritter's gotten high marks from you for his poise since rookie minicamp.
Sure.
But with the turnovers, but continuing, did you have concerns that confidence was wavering, particularly in the way he was holding the
Appreciate
ball?
the question. I kind of answered that. There's a lot of variables that go in. I understand it, but my answer is not going to change.
You talk about all the different variables. I know you had to evaluate a whole lot when it comes to this decision, but was it a relatively quick decision, or did you guys really take your time?
I don't make it. I try not to make any knee-jerk reactions. Again, this is just we're talking about this week. Consider everything, and why we're going with Taylor.
Were you guys all pretty much in agreement that this was the right move moving forward, at least for this week in the short term?
We have our process of everything, but we have a very inclusive, as we go through it. So it's not just being emotional or letting some kind of ego get in there or some power trip. No, that's not how we operate. But make decisions. We feel it's the best decision right now, and that's kind of way guides you.
Just this week, multiple times, but you do have a bye coming a week after that, when you go to Arizona. Is there a possibility you look at this as a 2-week stint and then a reevaluation period?
I think every Monday, that's our job, and everything that goes on, you evaluate. That's our job, to constantly evaluate everything.
When you mentioned the Drake injury, is that just something that's like you're watching, or is he limited, or what is that injury?
It's the same thing he came out of the game with, right, with the groin. So you'll be on the injury report this afternoon. It's just, you got to see it. Like I said, when you get all the information, like we said on Monday, I don't put a timetable on it, but it was positive, all things considered. Sometimes those things can be, we'll just have to see. You got to evaluate it day to day and kind of see how the week goes. I know this. He'll do everything he can. Drake's been playing really well, and he'll do everything he can. For a young player, he's a very mature pro.
To the offseason, what are the traits that you identified in Taylor that he was a guy you wanted to go after, and how did that process?
There's a lot of things that go into it. You know, when you sign a guy and you have a role for him, understanding that you're always a snap away for whatever reason. Obviously, he had experience, and we'd seen it up close and personal. There's everybody's different skill sets, but there's a lot of things that what you see in Taylor. I mean, you saw it Sunday. I mean, the way that he, whether you want to call it spatial awareness, he's got a unique ability to extend plays. The way he gets out of there, this isn't his first rodeo. You know, those things help. You know, depending on the dynamics of your room, you don't want everybody to be inexperienced in there just because things come up in the NFL. That's the history of this league, and so a lot of positive qualities in Taylor, and he's been a great fit here. And that's why you sign a guy like him. Gosh.
So he will not practice there, or is he going to be
Who's that?
London? Will he not
Drake?
practice there? Or
Yeah, he's not in practice today. I mean, he can't practice tomorrow. I was just before we put the injury report out, it kind of went into it. No, he won't practice today.
Coach,
Will you
looking
need to
at
see
the,
practice at any point this week for him to play?
Just depends how he feels and how the week goes. I mean, it's like the same thing like last year. I mean, every player is different. Some people have hard, fast rules about they got to see him by this date. I understand that, but we played CP last year, done it with other players in the past. You just take it case by case, Mike.
I know you obviously can't replace a player like Grady, but how busy were the phones during the trade deadline, and what did you do in the trade
Yeah, I
deadline?
think always our job. I mean, we've always listened, and you want to know what's going on around the league. Again, there's always going to be rumors. Like I said, people have their incentives. It's harder than ever to know what's real and what's not. I mean, things get passed to me that are sometimes comical because I'm like, that didn't happen. But again, how things get, it's like the game of telephone sometimes. There may be a kernel of truth here or there, and then the thing spirals out. And, the next thing you know, we were trying to trade for me and Joe Green. So, we're always listening. Obviously, we've been very transactional. So you're always listening. But again, unless something gets done, there's all kind of rumor and innuendo.
Yeah, Coach, how will you sort out the, I'm working on a depth chart here, the backup
I
tackle
promise you I wasn't
spot.
trying to screw up your depth chart.
Yeah, it's all messed up right now. What do we do at Grady's spot? And LaCale, because you got two tackles down, and
They
then
just,
Bell and
as we
Street.
go to play. Yeah, I mean,
You got Graham and Huggins
Sure.
on the roster. And
right. And we've
forget
been,
about Harris on the practice squad.
yeah, and Timmy Horn, right? And so we've consistently, we've moved some guys around, and again, depending on the plan, and obviously getting Contavious up to speed. I mean, he has some familiarity. He's played for Ryan before. It's unfortunate I went to NC State, but there's been some good players, coaches that we have on the staff there. But in all seriousness, there's familiarity with the player and with Contavious and kind of some of the stuff Ryan's going to ask. And there's always an adjustment, right? He was just up in Philly, a little bit different scheme. Tracy Rocker was his coach, whatever Rock was. I worked with Rock in Tennessee, but everybody's got their own things. You just got to get him up to speed. And but he's a veteran. Usually that's those guys can adapt quick. And then we obviously TQ as he's been kind of getting back to form, and obviously Huggins and Timmy. We got a lot of guys that have played.
Been in this situation really the last 2 years in some form or fashion. Is that?
Yeah, they're all
I mean, they're different, but semi-similar in terms of like he wasn't expected to be the starter at the beginning of the year, and then in this position, whether it was good ones or fit. Is that part of the calculus of why you feel comfortable making this move, because you've seen him have to kind of?
Yeah, there's not that unknown, right? He's played. I mean, certainly. He talks back to Josh's question about what you're evaluating and things that, the chemistry and fit, the dynamics, because things can change in a heartbeat. Like literally the first play of the game, like it can change. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. But certainly when you have a guy that's experienced, I mean, that's what you want a balance of. Just like in the O-line room, it can definitely help Matt Bergeron that Jake Matthews has played a lot of snaps. Or he can go to Chris, not only your coaches, but some of your peers as you mix and match. If you're playing 5 rookies, I mean, you hope you wouldn't be in that spot, but say you are. You never know, or playing guys that really haven't played a lot of snaps, there's different issues that come up. But that's in every room, the mix and the match, and whether it's peer-to-peer help, not just the coaches and everything else.
We know that you kind of have this thing where you love guys, pictures and things that they've done. Any Halloween outfits that really stood out to you in this group? Anything that you point out to the guys?
I've heard stuff. I haven't seen it. Usually that stuff gets sent to me somehow, some way. Nothing today, but I'm sure maybe at the end of the week, hopefully some stuff gets sent to me.
Oh, yeah, Coach. Just how much did help you in a decision knowing that you had played against Taylor the last 2 years and seen him up close and on the opponent side? How did those 2 games help you all when you signed him? And I don't know if it would have came up in this situation. Just check.
You all right? Pinging?
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, all right. Yeah, I mean, that does help, right? I mean, even evaluating David, not only the inside information you have with former coaches and personnel that been around them, but yeah, I think when you've studied somebody a lot, and that certainly helps you. You have just part of the evaluation process.
After the Jacksonville game, you talked about how you wanted to see Desmond in that second half to see how he responded in that situation. Was there something similar with Taylor in the last game where you wanted to see those game reps and see how he handled the play calls or anything you were throwing at?
Different situations, different points in the career, and different things came up. Desmond got evaluated, Taylor went out there. That's kind of different. I mean, I understand what you're asking, but they're completely different points in their career too. Taylor's been around, different roles, a lot of different things, but I understand what you're asking, but different situation.
Has a history of kind of catching on a place and just hanging around until things break and he gets a chance. Is there a trait that guys like that have that helps them do that up beyond things just break your way?
Those have been different. I understand what you're trying to insinuate, Josh, and it's a smart way to craft it, but that's not. I mean, any job whether you're the backup guard or swing tackle, just like Storm coming in, right? There's unique. Everybody wants to play. Those are different situations. If you're trying to compare them to I think I heard you say the poor man's Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's not true either. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, Josh. If that's what you were trying to say. The difference, just like everybody else in the league, I've worked with Ryan Fitzpatrick too, if you're wondering. It's like him and Josh Johnson and Vinny Testaverde. I don't know who played him more, Ryan Fitzpatrick. But every player, that's their job. You get a helmet on game day, be ready to go.
When you make this decision, it's not like going into week 9, it's not because you've seen enough. Like, what Ritter can do, right? It's just more, you're not going to.
My answer is not going to change. I know. I'm not, I appreciate the questions. I really do. I'm being serious. My answer's not changed.
Taylor, if sum it up, Taylor's the starter for this week, and Desmond's the number 2, and where about next week later?
Those are your words.
Okay.
If Taylor goes out and plays well on Sunday, does that make whatever you're going to do in the future harder?
We're not going to get into hypotheticals right now. Good question too. Not getting into hypotheticals right now.
Is there a chance after Sunday that you can sit there and say that Taylor's the starter the rest of the year?
Not getting into hypotheticals.
Yes, Coach. Oh, well, I think we had a trade deadline question.
What you got?
Oh, no, I was just, how busy was it on the trade deadline yesterday? But I think you answered that already.
My answer's not changing there either. Thank you. You're good? Yeah. Thank you.